Hello, Artful Kids. I'm going to talk to you today about drawing materials. So you have a lot of the drawing materials in your caddies here already on your table. And I want to talk about a few other types of drawing materials too with you today. These are also materials considered drawing materials. All right. And so our first big project is going to be made with drawing materials. And so you have lots of different choices of drawing materials. And I'm going to go over some of those with you and just a few techniques and how they work so that you can experiment and have fun learning about these different ones and deciding which ones you like the best and which ones you will like to use in your drawing project. All right, here we go. So I'm just going to do a few demonstrations here. So of course we have crayons and colored pencils, and those are some of the more basic ones. Now I've got a whole series of skin tones, different skin tones. So if you're doing any kind of portrait, we've got lots of skin tones. So of course with crayons, the lighter you color, the lighter it'll be. The harder you press down, then the darker it'll be. And that's the same with colored pencils. The harder you press down, the darker it'll be. The lighter you go, or the lighter you press down, then the lighter it'll go. So that's called value too. We've been talking about that in class, value. So it's the differences between the darkest and then the lightest in any color. All right, so crayons, colored pencils, they all work that same way. And of course, regular pencils, of course, lead pencils. So if you're drawing something, one of the things as years 5s and 6s we're starting to get into some shading. All right, and we start shading, and when we're looking at shading, we look at where the shadows are. All right, and then a lot of students like to do kind of black and white and lead pencils, which is fine. And then starting to work on those shading, the shading technique. So I can help you with that if you need help with tips on shading. So anyway, so that is the lead pencil and shading. And you can do the shading with colored pencils as well. All right, now markers, of course, we know markers. We've got markers. Markers, there is no real shading. So what you see is what you get there. All right, we all know, I think, about markers. Oh, one thing about markers, something that all markers that I know of are designed, you put the lid on the back and then you won't lose that lid. And remember, we always put the lid back on nice and tightly so that these markers stay working well for us all the time. So I don't think I know of any marker that isn't designed where the lid can sit on the back. So let's get in the habit of doing that. All right, now I want to move to oil pastels. Because oil pastels, I love oil pastels, and they are just so fun. So on this day, we're going to be experimenting with all these things. I've got a little sheet here that will help you with some different ideas, some different techniques. Short strokes, layering, so that's colors on top of colors. I'll go over a few of these, but you're going to have this at your table, and you can go through some of these and practice them. So let me go through with the blending. I think the blending is one of the things that kids like to do the most. So when you color with oil pastels, they're much richer and darker than a crayon, but they often give you this kind of grainy look. So one of the things people like to do is blend them. So there are several ways that we can blend them. So I have these little tools. They're little makeup sponges, but these work as nice little blending tools. And you just press down there, and that blends that and makes it look a lot less grainy. Now, if you like the grainy, that's fine. You don't have to blend it. If you like that, No worries. What else? You can always use your finger or a tissue, but these work really nice. Now, another thing that's really helps with the blending is white. If you take white, it'll lighten up your color, but white helps blend really well. See how it does lighten up, but white is a really good tool for blending there if you want to use the white. Now, if you're ever getting a material and there's other colors on it and you don't want it, just get a scrap paper and then just wipe that off like that. And then you've got, then you get all that color off and then you have a fresh color again. All right, so that's just one technique. Of course, we've got stippling where you're tapping down like that. Hatching goes, little lines that go this way. And this is a technique for pencils as well, hatching. All right, and you can do that with colored pencils. A lot of these techniques you can do with all these different materials. Let's see, oil pastels. So yeah, I have all the normal oil pastels. I also have some of these metallic pastels that are kind of sparkly. So those are really nice. Yep, so we have those. Those will be available for you. And then I want to talk about chalk. So chalk, some people love chalk, some people hate chalk. I happen to love chalk. If you're somebody who likes your art to be super neat and tidy and accurate, then chalk probably isn't for you. But if you don't mind it a little messy, a little bit crazy, then chalk, I love chalk. And so chalk is just so rich. And again, you can blend with your fingers. Okay, and then you get all sorts of fun. The more you use, then the chalkier it gets there. And so one thing with chalk is if you end up with getting lots of this dust, take it to the trash can and just blow it into the trash can. Don't blow it at the table because it'll end up on somebody and they won't like that. Another thing with chalk, I've got a few other blending tools. I've got these. These are great for blending as well. Now they do have lots of other colors on them, so if you're worried about, having a pure color, you might not want to use those. You might want to use your fingers instead. But that is great for blending. Yeah, so that's chalk. You can get different colors in there. This is layering. We talked about layering and oil pastels. You can layer oil pastels as well. Let me find a good color that goes with purple. Yellow goes well with purple. So you can layer different colors on top of different colors, and that looks really nice. All right, so chalk. Let's see, these, this is also a good blending tool. So these are old erasers that people have used on charcoal or chalk, and they're pretty much ruined for any kind of pencil drawings, but I've kept them and we can just use them for blending chalk, and you can just kind of use the side. And also for charcoal. So let's talk about charcoal because that's another form of chalk here. So this is charcoal. Well, actually this is a chalk, chalk pastel. Charcoal, this is more charcoal. But it works the same. So if you want something to be black and white, then you could use this. This is charcoal, is a little bit lighter, not quite as heavy, a little bit more detailed. You can get smaller details there. Chalk is fatter, of course. And then, of course, you can use this to blend the chalk or use your fingers. All right, but those are great for that. All right, so and then the last thing I want to show you, two more things I want to show you. So if you're using just black and white, Of course, you've got your pencil option, you've got chalk, but you can also use these. These are graphite pencils. Let me just scoot all this over. So that's kind of like a fat pencil, all right? And it gives you something like this. So it's really good for blending. If you have big areas that you want to blend, these are a good choice for that. And of course, you can blend that a little bit with that, or you can blend it with your finger, or just leave it the way it is. All right, so graphite pencil, if you're sticking with black and white, that is a nice material to use. And then the last thing I want to show you is kind of a sort of a chalk. It's called a Conte crayon. So it's sort of like the charcoal, but again, you can get a little bit more fine lines, smaller, a little bit darker than this one, but lighter than that one and more precise. All right, so that's called Conte crayon. And in the Conte crayon, it comes in white, black, white, and brown. And I'm just putting some white right over that. And where's the brown? Here's the brown. Okay, and a lot of them are really tiny. So yep, so it comes in brown. So if you're making, you know, I don't know, leaves or something. Or, you know, you can add the different darker areas, the lighter areas. That's Conte crayon's pretty fun. I've enjoyed using that before, but yeah, so just things like that. And then the white helps to blend it. All right, so those are all the materials. I think I've covered everything. I'll just let you know if there's something. That is what we're doing, practicing with different drawing materials, experimenting, playing with some of these different techniques, and then deciding what material you would like to use for your first choice-based project using drawing materials. All right? Okay, well, have fun today and experimenting and learning about all these different drawing materials, and happy creating. Bye.